Hey guys, I'm Tessa Smith with MamasGeeky.com. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
I see that you and Ken are on the same location on
We
the
are.
Very nice.
It's lovely.
Love it.
Somewhere I see you.
I see you down there. I absolutely love these Lego Star Wars shorts. They're so much fun. I'd love to start off by asking like where the idea kind of came from to do these, because there's been 3 of them now, right? For holiday ones. So
Yeah. They truthfully started with Lucasfilm back in 2019, 18. Sorry, the years are all now a blur. Josh Rhimes at Lucasfilm approached me. We had worked together on Freemaker Adventures, where I'd been a writer, and said, we have this idea of like trying to do, the first one was a holiday special, sort of in the vein of all the Christmas specials that we all grew up with, Charlie Brown Christmas and all that. And sort of they had this kind of rough idea and said, would you be interested? And I think before he'd finished asking the question, I said, yes. And so it started from there. And so then once that ball got rolling, each of these sort of, once we're doing one, as we're wrapping up one, we start thinking about the next, because animation production always takes a while. So from the holiday special, we thought, well, the next sort of logical one was Halloween. And then when we were wrapping up Halloween, we were, all of us were talking about like sort of summer vacation trips and the trips we took with our family, and remembering going to the beach, remembering going camping and going to summer camp, and what did all that look like? And we started saying, it really sort of been like, oh, what would, we were thinking about the long car trips we took with our families, like, oh, what would that look like on the Millennium Falcon? And that's usually how this happens. Is so you ask that question, what would X look like? And you just start pushing that boulder. It just takes a life of its own as it starts rolling down the hill.
yeah, Ken, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, yeah.
So how long does one of these shorts take then? You talk about how they just kind of roll into each other, but I mean, they're about 45 minutes long, right? So how long does that actually take to make?
It's pretty close. Well, probably pretty close to a year, I'd imagine. Although maybe, David, maybe even longer, because you start writing before I see it, like before I start seeing material. So yeah, probably in that ballpark, basically.
Yeah, you could call it around a year. It's sort of, it can get a little woozy just because it's when have you actually started it. But I think one of the interesting things is that we've done, to your point, Tessa, we've done 3 of these. It's the same team. If you look through the credits, you'll see a lot of the same names on all 3. And that's been a real gift, because we develop a shorthand, we develop a familiarity, and so we can do them sort of quicker. I know it's certainly, it's helped me speed up I've gotten much more efficient in my writing, and I sort of know what the notes mean and how to, you'll get a note and you don't have to spend 2 days pondering it. You go, oh, okay, I know what they're asking for. And so, or if later on in the process, if we're giving a note to Ken, or Ken has an idea, so that helps pick up the speed. I think familiarity breeds economy. How's that for a made up?
Yeah. Well, even on the production side, my teams, we were really pushing to push the bar up on what the material looked like. And, that first one, there was a lot of work to get there. And then the next one, okay, they know, my leads know kind of what I'm looking for. And then the third one, honestly, the notes I were making were just sort of aesthetic notes. They weren't technical notes, which was great. So
yeah,
then you can just kind of tweak the high level stuff, and you're not kind of constantly just chasing down technical problems.
One of my favorite things about these are all like the references to other, like in this one, like Anakin complaining about sand was like amazing. Like I love all those little things. I was cracking up. I watched that like 6 times. I was like, this is the best. This makes sense. And talking about Ronto wraps and, all sorts of references like that. So David, like how fun is it for you to just write that stuff in there? And is there anything that you have to cut out ever?
It's the best. It's incredibly fun. I always say all of us working on this are fans. And so we like to have those Easter eggs for the people who know it. For some people, particularly young kids, this may be their first entry into Star Wars. So they may not get all the references right away. That's okay. Eventually they're going to see everything, and hopefully they'll come back to in a joke that they didn't get at first. make sense later. I grew up on and later worked at Mad Magazine. I had an older brother and I would read his stuff and I don't get this joke. And then as I got older, I went, oh, I know what that is now. So it is incredibly fun. In terms of things getting cut, I mean, in any script and in comedy, stuff gets cut for time, stuff gets cut because the story changes. So but it's like you learn, I don't know, Ken, I don't know if you feel so, but like you kind of learn not to get too precious about anything.
Yeah, I know, it's just whatever's serving the piece, really. Like, and yeah, you just have to sometimes lose stuff you really like personally.
Yeah.
But it's always in service of the story. I mean, it really starts with the story. You're always in service of the story.
I'm telling you, the Anakin joke, that was like spot on. I loved it so much. Do you have like I know it's kind of like picking a favorite child, but like, do you have a favorite reference or Easter egg or anything from this one?
I know Ken's.
Oh, Ken, what's yours?
Well, actually, I'll sort of throw it. Actually, I'm going to go with the Jawa pulling his cloak off and revealing the bling, because that's such an obscure. Mark Hamill in that German. I'm not even sure what that was, but yeah, that was for me is probably kind of one of my favorite obscure references.
Well, that's a great question. One of our writers pitched a joke that made it in there that Valeria says, where she's making fun of the great Pitta carcoon, and I just thought that is a deep cut that Nicole Brown just knocks out of the park, and that joke, can't even take credit for it, just makes me laugh every single time I heard it. It's like, that's fantastic. So I'm gonna go with that as my. So
that's a good one. Well, speaking of Yvette, I mean, this cast is just incredible. Can you talk about like the casting process and bringing these people on?
Yeah, that's all hail Lindsay Hopper at Lucasfilm. I suspect, I'd like to think a lot of us are Star Wars fans. I know Yvette is for sure. So I think you get to sort of start from that place. I think what's amazing about this cast, both our legacy characters, the ones who, from the films, the ones who are playing the characters, someone like James Arnold Taylor, who also does Obi-Wan in Clone Wars, and then our sort of guest cast, is they're all really game. They all bring their A game. They all are having fun. There are, again, for the legacy and our original cast, they'll be doing things like they're doing little twists on their characters. Kelly Marie Tran will bring a slightly different version of Rose that is the Lego Rose that is funny. And it's just, it's super fun. I mean, I won't speak for people, like those record sessions are just a blast with everybody.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, getting to see her do her lines from the film, that was just a moment of, it's just, it was amazing. You try and approach it professionally, but then you veer into fanboy.
I'm sure.
It's hard not to geek out when it's hard not to geek out when Billy D. Williams is there, and
yeah, we were all just like
yeah.
Now, is any of this like recorded in person, or is most of it Zoom right now?
It's all Zoom now. A lot of people are doing it from home studios. A lot of the people who sort of do voice acting first and foremost have home studios. Are the Lucasfilm team is also able to help people set up mics and blankets, and it's sort of amazing what they're able to do. The holiday special, the first one, we did most of that in person. We had to do some pickups that happened after lockdown. It's amazing what you can accomplish. The technology exists to let us do it, and it's pretty. It appears pretty seamless. I know on the back end it's an enormous amount of work. I miss being in the studio. It's always fun. There's an energy that is really great, but that these actors can do it speaking in what I would think is speaking to the void is impressive. It's
well, and it was fun to see the setups that they would set up to, like I remember the record with Christian Slater.
Oh yeah, on the
like, then he'd get pulled down and then he'd pull it up and be like, "What do you think?" And
I feel like on this one, didn't Tom Lennon have that? Thomas Lennon had that too. He had that sort of a blanket where he would sort of disappear and
come back. And Anthony
they would have the Zoom setup and their mic set up.
Yeah, and Anthony built this whole crazy setup with like I feel like it was like plastic piping, and he was super proud. He was just like, he was like going on at the beginning, like, just like, well, look at my thing I built. And
and then some other folks, to your question, Tessa, would go into a recording studio and we just do a remote session. So which has existed for a long time at this point.
Okay, very cool. Now, is there like a lot of room for improv, or not really with something like this?
We encourage improv. There's a written script, but our actors are really funny, and so when when Trevor Duvall is playing the Emperor, let him go. See what else he's got. James Arnold Taylor definitely improvised during the Gomorrean Girls song and gave us some great stuff. And the other thing is we sort of encourage. What is fun is ideas come from everywhere. So if our voice director throws out a line, we're like, yeah, try it. Or there's usually a text chain going separately with me and Ken and folks from Lego and Lucasfilm. It's like, hey, can we try this? Or what if we tried that line? So there's no reason not to try it, and the kind of rule is best joke wins.
Best joke wins. I love that. So how much does a story change with something like this, like along the process? Is it, especially since the third one, does it kind of stay the same, or there's still a lot of changes throughout the process?
The story is always evolving. You're constantly asking what if, and even once it makes it to Ken and his team in Atomic, like there's editing, and editing will change things, and as I alluded to earlier, we'll do pickups and we'll change lines. So hopefully at some point in the process you lock down into a framework that works, and that your basic story is there. But I mean, really up into the last minute, even lighting can change a story. So music cues can change a story. So it's I would say it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, we're sort of pushing for the best possible story we can, pretty aggressively right up to animation. And then even then we're kind of pushing, like, the animation team brings their own stuff in, like, we kind of do a layered process where you've got, the script and the foreground story, but then we background in gags, and they bring all this stuff, and like David said, lighting, effect things, and so it's sort of all the way through. But
I mean, one of the joys of doing this from my end is, when I'm done writing the script and sort of in producer mode with the whole team, like, Atomic will send us something, and now you're seeing it for the first time. And what Ken says, like, his team will add these background gags that they weren't in the scripts. Their crew found this, and you're like, that's great. Like that's a really exciting moment. You just go, yes. It's Ken said, it's always about elevating, pushing. How good can we make this thing? And it really is, honestly, until it's locked. We're doing that.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, I love them. My family loves them. I have a 9 and 11-year-old daughter. And when I told them there's a new one, they got so excited. And so can you talk about like the importance of something that families will enjoy? You know what I mean? Like the adults can enjoy it just as much as the kids, which I think is very important when it comes to family entertainment.
Yeah, Ken and I both talk. I have 2 daughters as well. Ken has a daughter, and we both talk, like, we've been encouraging them. Proud moments is when that we've turned them into as big of Star Wars fans as we are. So we've talked about amongst ourselves that Josh Rhimes will often point out that, Lego Star Wars can often be an entry point for a lot of kids. Some kids don't start with the movies. And so we want this thing where a kid who is new to it can enjoy the story for what it is, and enjoy it and be on this adventure and have a great time. And if they're watching it with their parent, which a lot of them are, the parents laughing at, as you know, that Anakin hates sand. Like there's a level of knowledge that you've got, and you're getting to enjoy. Hopefully you're enjoying the story too, but you're getting to enjoy that on that level too. Or the 20 or 30-year-old fan who doesn't have kids yet, who just grew up on this stuff and wants to be there too. So we really do. I hate using cliches like co-viewing, but that's what it is. It's like it's family viewing. We want everybody to be able to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then last but most importantly, there's more holidays out there. Are we going to see more? I mean, we could do Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and any excuse to have another one of these. I'm all in. So could there be more in the future, maybe?
There's no plans now, but speak it into existence. Tessa, you've got the fan base. Make it happen. If you guys ask, never. I love St. Patrick's Day. I'm dying to know what that looks like in Star Wars.
I can't wait. I'm sure you'll come up with something good, guys.
David's always wanted to do an Arbor Day special, so you know.
There you go. Any holiday we can get, I will take it. I'm sure it will be entertaining. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tessa. Thank you for having us.
Great to meet you.
Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.